In the last 72 hours, I have gotten so much clarity, and it's not like the easy, fun, whatever, but it was so needed. An artist relationship that has seemingly felt like it was falling apart almost from the beginning, finally, at least in my opinion, did its last little thing that I'm like, cool, this doesn't exist. And then I had a lifelong friend affirm the direction that I'm going in as a person and as a businesswoman and as a believer. And then after that, tonight I was with one of my other artists, and it was like a weird situation at first that turned into being a very good situation that led me to a ton of clarity. And then as we were leaving, I was really affirmed by this artist and found more clarity, more encouragement. And I'm saying all that to say that this has been a rocky journey for the last several months. I just keep feeling like things that I want or need or desire have just been pulled away. And I'm at the point now that I'm like, I can't even worry about it. Worry is not going to do anything but rob me of the peace that I have in this like waiting period. And so I felt like tonight I feel like there's this understanding that I have. One of my favorite books says, for we know in part and we prophesy in part, which means that part of it is an understanding that you have just by existing, right? Or by life circumstance or by experience, you know in part. But the other side, the prophesying part, is this understanding of the unknowing that you have, but there's no basis for it. You know, some people would call it intuition, whatever, but it's informed by the spiritual world. It's informed by whatever is greater than you, right? And I feel like I've had somewhat of this knowing about some things, but today, more of it came down into an actual knowing and not just the prophesying part. You know, it's kind of like, I know I'm going to do great things, or I know I'm going to change the world, or I'm going to be a millionaire, or I'm going to be a mogul, or I'm going to do this great feat. We have that. That's the prophesying part. But the knowing is like more of the plan of how to get there, or seeing the steps as a visionary. And it's been really, really hard for me lately because I feel like I'm really close to something, but I can't figure out exactly what it is and what my part is in it. And for several months, I've been thinking that the thing is, I just need one more yes from just the right thing. And that yes is going to be what's turnkey to me entering into my next phase. And tonight, for the first time, I think ever in my life, I relinquished my desire to give the key to somebody else or for someone else to have the key. And I recognize that not only do I have the key, but I am the key. So I'm saying all that to say that everything that I need, I have, and I know that. But tonight it made a lot more sense. The last 72 hours have been so illuminating to me because I found the key, and the key was me. And that seems so simple, especially for somebody who gives people business, music, whatever advice for a living. I'm like, use what you have, use what you have. Tonight it made sense for me. But that's the thing. In order to understand the tools that you have to walk, and they have to be shaped, and you have to be around people and other things and ideologies. It's like you can't just be in an echo chamber of your own thoughts because you never get exposed to what turns the prophecy into a reality. And I'm not trying to speak anecdotally or like in hyperbole or like overemphasize some mystic thing, but I do feel like my understanding of my purpose has been congealed, for lack of a better phrase, a lot more in the last 72 hours. And things in my life from when I was really young made sense. Things in my life from the last few months have made sense. Just in the last 3 hours, honestly. So much so that 3 hours ago, I left the artist that I was talking to, and I wanted to record a video, but I felt like I had to sit with some of my feelings for a little while to give space for me to absorb the new understanding that I've just arrived at. All it's going to take is consistency at this point. And I think that I didn't know what to be specifically consistent in. And one thing that I super duper hate is misused energy. I think you have to move regardless, and that momentum can be carried, the direction can be changed, whatever. So I'm not a fan of overthinking things before you move. But I will say that I have moved and felt like the direction wasn't right. And then I would pivot and move a couple more steps and then pivot. And then I would focus on something else, focus on something else, focus on something else, come back. That's been my process. I have now come back and I'm like, I believe this is where I'm supposed to be, but it feels a little awkward. And then I'll start to veer, and then something reminds me, like I start to veer, and then I'm reminded that I'm supposed to be here. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I believe I'm supposed to be here, but it feels a little awkward. And then I'll start to veer. And then I'm reminded, I'm like, oh yeah, I believe and then this is what I realized. The reason I'm veering is because my shoulders are turned this way. If I fully dive into the path that I'm on and I turn my shoulders this way, I won't veer because this is the path that I believe I'm supposed to be on. And as I go in this direction, it becomes more clear and I can see it better because my head is faced this way. But this whole time, my head has been faced this way, but I'm moving that way. So it never really made sense to me. So I'm saying like it's starting to make sense to me. It's really starting to make sense to me. Like to the point that I'm like, if I'm just consistent for 6 months, it's going to make sense to everybody else too. And I'm not going to have to keep fighting for what I feel like I'm worth or what I want people to see, hear, or understand. So the unfortunate thing in my head was that all of these things have been taken away. But I keep telling people that I'm aware that God is allowing these things to be taken away from me and things to be removed, not taken, released, so that I have space to catch what's coming my way. But I think I just learned tonight that it's because I need space to create with my hands what's about to be my new portion. And as long as I'm diligent, I'm working with yeast, so this shit is gonna multiply on its own. Before I was working with Georgia red clay, and if you know red clay, it's like you can't plant even shit in it. And out of the clay, God was still allowing stuff to grow, you know? And dirt is cool, but yeast yields results almost immediately with just a little bit of heat. We got a lot of heat coming over in this area. So listen, sheesh. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. And I got a whole bunch of yeast in my hands. So I'm really excited and I'm really encouraged. I'm not trying to be cryptic. I just see it now. I feel like I finally understand like the barriers and blockades that I've been hitting. I had to get to a point where I was confident enough in my voice that that's what I was championing, not somebody else's voice with my voice behind it. So that's where I am at right now. I'm championing for my own voice. That's about to lead to the deluge that I need, that I see, that I feel. Yeah, it's on me now. I just gotta be consistent and I gotta believe in my voice. and what I have inside of me, and not feel like it has to be connected to somebody else in order for it to be powerful or necessary or important. It's scary. Like even outwardly verbalizing this right now is actually scaring me a little bit. Believing in yourself is a scary thing. I've told people for years that I believed in myself, but I think I believed in my ideas and used other people as vehicles. But I have ideas for me, and I'm going to use myself as a vehicle, and that is scary. Very scary. But I'm going to do it. That's my only option right now. It's all I want to do. Okay? I'm excited and terrified, which is a really, 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 really healthy place for me to be.